Hello and welcome back to the recap on Women's Football Talk, the YouTube channel that brings you all the latest news and stories from around the world of women's football. Now before we get into today's video, make sure you smash that subscribe button and turn on the post notifications so you never miss a video of ours, and that you're following us on Twitter and Instagram for all the latest news and stories. So let's have a look back at the weekend's action across England in the WSL, across the European leagues, and of course the NWSL playoff semi-finals that took place over the weekend. So on Friday we spoke of our game in focus being Tottenham versus Manchester City, and it didn't disappoint if you were a Manchester City fan, with Gareth Taylor's side winning 3-0 against Spurs, with Khadija Bunishaw scoring a brace and then Lauren Hemp getting in on the act as well. So it was a fairly strong game and easy game for Man City from the off. Pretty much they dominated the whole game, and I think what's helped City grow in the last couple of weeks is the fact that this defense of lineup of Esme Morgan, Alex Greenwood, Leia Alexandri and Kerstin Kasparai all seem to be gelling really well together and seem to have got a good connection. So that seems to be a really good workout of a back four so far together for Gareth Taylor's side, where previously having, I think it was the likes of Philippa Agendal and Steph Horton in there as well, wasn't really helping them out, and it was causing more of a hindrance to Manchester City in the opening couple of games. However, recently they've looked really well over their last two games and have looked really resolute. So picking up this 3-0 win was very much obviously on the cards. If you look at Khadija Shaw this season, she has been absolutely fantastic now for Manchester City and it's starting to look like a proper striker. Yes, she got good goals in her first season last year with the Citizens. However, this year she's looking a lot more promising and is definitely going to be one of them where you could potentially put her up for the Golden Boot race along with the likes of like Sam Kerr, Stina Blackstenius, Pernilla Harder and so on and so forth. But yeah, really good win for City. They now obviously move up to 6th place following that victory and their second victory of the season. So now have scored 10 goals. Obviously from a Tottenham point of view, it's worrying signs early on in the game. Ellie Brazil went down within the first 5 minutes after coming into contact with Manchester City goalkeeper Ellie Roebuck. Now, as a time of recording, we don't know the full extent of that injury. However, she obviously had to get stretchered off the pitch, so it's not one where you expect it to be a light injury and recover soon. It could be one of them where she's out for a couple of weeks, if not maybe the rest of 2022. So that's going to be worrying signs, and obviously we'll be hoping that it's better news for Ellie Brazil because she's such a promising forward, and hopefully Spurs get the best out of her. But it seemed to be from that moment on, that injury for Ellie Brazil, it just seemed to rock Spurs for the majority of that first half, and then obviously Khadija Shaw scoring the first one just before half time, that then really dropped the confidence of Spurs, and then in the second half it just made it really easy for Manchester City. I mean, looking at the stats here, 20 shots to Tottenham's 3, 8 on target to none on target for Tottenham. So it is really worrying there for Tottenham that they're just not being able to get over that bit of a hurdle. And obviously if they're wanting to compete with the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United and Man City for that European places, they've got to be doing better in these games. But obviously they'll learn on that and then go forth going forward. The other game on Saturday saw Everton take on Aston Villa, and Aston Villa lost 1-0 with Lucy Graham scoring the only goal for Everton. Really good game, very end-to-end, and could have gone either way, and I think even a draw would have been a fair amount of the game looking back on reflection. Courtney Brosnan in goal for Everton was absolutely fantastic, pulling off big saves every so often that Villa had a chance, and I think that would be Villa and Carla Ward's fair assessment is they were poor in the final third. Right, a look at the rest of the games. Arsenal beat Liverpool 2-0 with Leah Volti and Frida Marnham scoring. Manchester United beat Leicester City 1-0 with Nikita Paris scoring for the first time in the WSL with Manchester United. West Ham United managed to hold on to beat Reading 3-2 with Vivian Saye scoring a brace for the Hammers. And then in the late evening game, Chelsea beat Brighton 2-0 with Beth England and Pernilla Harder scoring the goals there. Now over in Germany this weekend was the big game between VfL Wolfsburg and Bayern Munich, and it was Wolfsburg that got the 2-1 victory over Bayern with Eva Puyol and Svenja Huth scoring the goals there for the Wolves, and that means they are with 5 wins out of 5 and 15 points. Now Eintracht Frankfurt separate the two sides, who are yet to lose themselves, having picked up 4 wins and a draw in the Bundesliga. Over in Spain this past weekend, and it was again, of course, a brilliant result for Barcelona, beating Real Betis 3-0 on Saturday, with Fridolina Rolfo and Carolina Graham Hansen amongst the goal scorers for Barcelona. Atletico Madrid were held to a 1-1 draw with Madrid CFF, and of course it was okay for Real Madrid as well this past weekend. Over in Italy, and we looked at the games between Sassuolo and Sassuolo and Inter Milan, and that finished in a 1-1 draw. The big game between AC Milan and Juventus finished 4-3 to AC Milan, with Kosovari Aslani scoring a brace there. And then finally, over in the Netherlands this past weekend, FC Twente continued up their fantastic start to the season, this time beating PSV 3-1, with Caitlin Dijkstra, Fenna Kalma and Marissa Olislagers scoring the goals there for FC Twente. And then Ajax beat Excelsior, same score 3-1, with Sherida Spitzer being amongst the goal scorers there. So good weekend overall in Europe, and obviously we have more Champions League action to look forward to on Wednesday and Thursday. So match day 2 gets underway later on this week. Now in the NWSL, it was the playoff semi-finals yesterday. So the Portland Thorns beat the San Diego Wave 2-1, with Raquel Rodriguez and Crystal Dunn scoring the 2 goals for the Portland Thorns, and that was despite Taylor Korniak scoring an early goal for Casey Stoney's side. So the Portland Thorns advance to Audi Field this coming weekend, where they will be taking on the Kansas City Current in a big shock after beating OL Reign 2-0, with Alexis Loyora and Kristen Hamilton scoring the goals for for Kansas City Current. So that is this Sunday, the 30th of October UK time. That will be at 1 a.m. So they are the games that have taken place this past weekend. Obviously, if there's any more news regarding other stuff in the future, we'll have videos out on it, and we'll also look ahead to next weekend's fixtures. And one final note, FIFA today put out the full schedule for next summer's World Cup, including kickoff times and official dates, so make sure you head over to our Twitter page where you can look for that. The first game between New Zealand and Norway will take place at 8 a.m. UK time zone, 9 o'clock if you're in Europe, and 7 p.m. if you're obviously over there in New Zealand. Other than that, make sure you like and subscribe. Like I said at the start, help us get to 500 subscribers by the end of the month. It would be absolutely amazing if we could reach that before the end of October, and that you're following us on Instagram and on Twitter as well for all the latest news and stories as and when it happens. And until then, we'll see you soon.